Hello. You ready to talk about the time money mindset link? This is going to be a really fun episode. I know that so many lawyers that I talk about struggle with money mindset, with time mindset, and we are going to be linking the two today. How we think about time inevitably influences how much money we make. What we think activates chemicals in our body that determines how we feel, and how we feel drives how we behave. Every behavior, every action we take or don't take creates the results that we get in our life. And one of those results is how much money we have. And what I see time and time again with lawyers is that their thoughts about time determine how much money they are capable of making. They top out unless they change how they think about time. In this episode, you will learn the time mindset blocks negatively impacting how much money you make, and learn how you can begin changing your time mindset so you can expand your ability to make money. Before we start changing your time mindset, I want to let you know about a new money mindset masterclass I'm doing next week. You can sign up at dinacataldo.com/money masterclass. How you think about money can either positively or negatively impact how much money you can make. I see this all the time with my clients, no matter what their income levels, and no matter whether they work for themselves or work for a firm. In this masterclass, you're going to learn the shifts those lawyers needed to make so they could expand how much they make in their practices without working harder or working longer hours. Our society tells us if we work harder, we will make more money. It's instilled in a lot of us by our parents that working hard, not just working, but working hard is put on a pedestal as if we are better human beings if we're always working. Society reinforces this message, and we've also seen evidence. We work really hard in law school and we make things happen. We get the career that we want, we start making money. And so our brain is building evidence to support all of these messages that society has given us. But look at who the message serves. It doesn't necessarily serve you if you're killing yourself at the expense of enjoying your human life. You're not a robot, my friend. We need to change our relationship with money. And when we do, we're going to create more calm in our life and in the law practices that you have. And that's what I'm going to help you do in this masterclass. You can save your spot at dinacataldo.com/money masterclass. I have designed this money masterclass to help you see what thoughts are repelling money from your practice and how to reframe your thoughts to begin making more of it without increasing your workload or your overwhelm. You're going to learn how to change the relationship you have with money and bring in more. And this masterclass is going to happen next Thursday. So make sure you don't miss it. It's Thursday, January 26th, 2023. You can sign up and get all the details at dinacataldo.com/money masterclass. If you can't make it, that's okay. I will make the replay available for people who sign up at that link. So go to dinacataldo.com/money masterclass to sign up. All right, now let's talk about the time money mindset link. This episode was inspired by work I'm doing with several clients and seeing how their thoughts about time have capped their growth in the past. And here's how people generally think about time and billing. And when I say billing in this episode, I mean logging time or sending out bills or billing your time. Generally, people think billing should have been done in the past, that they don't have time to do it in the present, and then they tell themselves that they'll do it later in the future. But then the future catches up with them, and then it's the present, and then that quickly turns into the past. So they go back into the cycle of thinking it should have been done in the past, and they don't have time to do it right now in the present. And so it's an unforgiving loop that repeats itself over and over again. And this pattern repeats itself because your brain is used to thinking it. Nothing has gone wrong. If you've ever watched a TV show or a movie over and over again, it's the same thing. When we choose an old show, it's because we have certainty about what will happen. We know that we're going to like it. We know what to expect. It's a safe choice. Same thing when we repeat this thought loop over and over again about time and billing. The brain has certainty. It's the safe choice. It's only by recognizing the pattern and choosing discomfort instead of safety that we can get out of this loop. We hear lack mentality, that phrase used a lot when we talk about money, but money and time share a lot in common. They are both currencies that can give us more of what we want if we use them well. If you feel scarcity around time, you're likely also going to feel some scarcity around money. Not always, but a lot of the time. And I've done podcasts about abundance and money in the past. So I'm going to link to those in the show notes. You can find those at dinacataldo.com/243. Instead of thinking about how much time you do or don't have, I want you to think about priorities. What are your priorities? Not the quote unquote in the moment priorities of getting work done or putting out a fire, but what are your overarching priorities for your law practice? This applies to you whether you have your own practice or you're working for a firm. If you have your own practice, think about your business as a baby. And if you're working for a firm, think about your boss as your very best client. In both cases, you want to think about their priority. Priority number one is survival. Priority number two is growth. Survival is usually pretty simple. Keep doing whatever it is you're doing. That's why our brain gets in these types of cycles that I mentioned earlier. What it's doing now is just maintaining survival. If you do nothing differently, you're going to stay alive, even if you feel overwhelmed or stressed out. Growth is a different matter. Growth is a different kind of discomfort that your brain is unfamiliar with. It requires a different level of thinking. A different level of thinking requires using your brain differently than it's used to. And our brains don't like doing things differently. It wants things to stay the same for survival purposes. Because remember, if you do the same thing over and over again that has proven success results, then you're just going to stay in that loop. But your brain is thinking that you're safe. So that's where time mindset can either cap or expand healthy business growth. Growth could be ensuring the expansion of your practice by giving your baby what it needs to grow, right? Like money. That's what we're talking about. Growth can also mean making yourself more valuable to the firm you're working for by giving your best client what it needs to grow, money. Now, if you want to create sustainable growth that doesn't require you to stay later and later at the office and work like a crazy person, it requires a clean mindset around time, a more objective mindset. We're going to be talking more about sustainable growth in the Money Mindset Masterclass. So be sure you're signed up for that. Make sure you go to dinacataldo.com/money masterclass because we're going to dig deep into these topics. So the very first step of changing our mindset is knowing what the problems are. So let's start right there. And I want to go through 3 common problems I see when lawyers have scarcity around time. Problem number 1, they lose money because they put off billing to do other work. And they do this because they think they don't have time. And how you know you're doing this is that you feel overwhelmed and tell people you're really busy all the time. You know, when they ask you how you're doing in the elevator, you just say, "Oh, I'm so busy." You judge yourself for not getting more done. And when you put off billing, you tell yourself you should know better or that you're going to get fired or that you're unprofessional. You don't have a set time of the month to send off bills to clients either. And if this is you, the reason this is happening is because you think you're just too busy to bill. The solution here is to notice when you are feeling overwhelmed, because that's when you're thinking the thought, I don't have time. I don't have time to bill. I don't have time to send out my bills. And that is when you're about to skip billing, my friend. Okay. Because as soon as the brain starts going into that loop, it's going to feel overwhelmed and you're going to tell yourself, I can't do it right now. I need to put it off till later. And then you're going to start beating yourself up because you know you should have done it now. You're going to be telling yourself that anyway. And then you're just going to totally skip it. So what we need to do is we need to nip it in the bud. You've got to notice when you feel overwhelmed and it's involving billing, right? You're sitting at your desk and you're skipping billing. Pause in that moment. We need to give your brain what it needs, which is awareness in those moments so that you can pause, right? And this takes practice. You got to keep showing up for yourself over and over again. You don't have to be perfect at this. It just requires that you keep trying. And then Once you start noticing that you're not billing and you're feeling overwhelmed and you take that pause, you have a moment, just this tiny bit of time that you need to remind yourself to prioritize the overall objective, feeding the business. Make time on your schedule. This makes it really easy to see this pattern. Like if you put on your schedule, just like you'd make time with a client, with a friend to bill or to send out bills, then you notice yourself skipping that time. That is the moment when you can practice and say, oh, I keep skipping that time. What's happening right at 4 o'clock when I'm about to bill or send out those bills? What's going on in my brain? Oh, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And I'm telling myself I can do it tomorrow, and then I'm not doing it. Notice that, because at that point, right before you're about to skip the time on your calendar, you can remind yourself that priority here is the billing. And I want to link this with checking emails or social media throughout the day. When I see myself compulsively checking email or social media, I notice I feel really anxious. And then I ask myself, what am I avoiding? And then it's inevitably some sort of work I had on my calendar. And so I stop myself, I look at my calendar, I see what it is that I'm avoiding. And then I just let myself feel uncomfortable, because when I notice that and I can pause myself, I put down my phone and I look at my calendar and just say, okay, what is it that I need to do next? I put this on my calendar for a reason. It's a priority to me. I pause and then I just tell myself, let's just do it. Let's just do this. This is going to feed the baby. So just do it anyway. Do the thing that is going to be uncomfortable, which is sending out the bill, and remind yourself of the priority to continue to sustainably grow your practice. Billing is how you take action in order to create that result. Okay, problem number 2. You lose money because you think you took too long to do your billing. So lawyers do this because they're judging themselves for not sending the bill in a specific time frame. Usually it's an arbitrary time frame. They just make it up out of thin air, and then they tell themselves a lot of stories about why they can't send out the bill. So you know you're doing this if you don't have a specific time of the month on your calendar that you send out bills, or if you do have a time on your calendar, you skip it. And if you don't have a time on your calendar at the end of the day or at the end of the week to look at your hours, or you know that you're doing this if you have bills sitting around that you keep telling yourself that you're going to get to, maybe your assistant has reviewed the bills and all you have to do is sign off on them, but you still haven't. Maybe clients are asking you for bills, or you ruminate and you think about how you should be billing. Then you beat yourself up because you haven't sent them out, and you tell yourself you're an unprofessional lawyer and that, you should be embarrassed, and you just feel this anxious tension in your body. So if this is you, know that you're not alone. I hear this a lot from lawyers. The reason this is happening is because you're afraid of what someone else will think about how long you took to send a bill. Your brain is making the fact that you hadn't sent the bill or logged the hours mean something about you, like you're unprofessional, or you're not a good attorney, or that you're disorganized. You feel embarrassment or shame, which of course doesn't motivate you to take action. It just prolongs the suffering. And this is so fascinating to see with my clients. They're all incredibly successful lawyers, and some bills are sometimes not sent as timely as they would like. And then they beat the crap out of themselves, and then they don't send the bill and they just sit on them. And then they feel really guilty because they know they're cheating their practice, but they also just feel really bad about themselves. The solution here is to notice if you recognize yourself here first, and then have so much compassion for yourself, right? There is nothing wrong with you. You're not a bad attorney. You are not unprofessional. Your clients don't hate you. You are fine. You are great the way you are. There's just some areas that you want to improve, and that's okay. So it's a really important here, is just as in the other problems that I'm talking about today, to feel discomfort. So for example, when you notice yourself ruminating on bills, take a breath, drop into your body. How do you feel? Anxious, guilty? Just sit with it. It's okay. It's a feeling. You will be fine. Remind yourself that you're okay, that this is a vibration in your body. that you can handle this. It's just a feeling, because when you are able to sit with the feeling, then it loses its power over you. It's not going to feel pleasant, but this feeling is going to be key to helping you because you are going to gain power over that emotion. Remind yourself it's okay. You can put time on your calendar to send out the bills or to do your billing. Just put it on your calendar and then stick to the time. Make it a priority. You're going to see a theme here, which is making money a priority in your practice. We get so many messages from society and people around us that money is bad. And if we take that messaging at face value, we are not going to prioritize it. Remind yourself of all the good that can be done with money, all the ways you want to use it to better yourself, the ways you have used it to better yourself, the way you've seen it better the world, your family, your community. Money is a good thing. Remind yourself of that. It will make this practice much easier. Problem number 3, you lose money because you think billing is a waste of your time. And lawyers do this because they think they went to law school to be a lawyer and do only things involved in the law. I know, crazy, right? But they don't realize that they went to law school to learn a valuable skill so they could do work that was of value to other people so they could receive value in return. And that value they receive in return is money. It could also be the satisfaction of a job well done, but ask yourself if that's why you really went to law school. I highly doubt it. You wanted to make sure you had a marketable skill. You know this is you if you don't contemporaneously bill, you put off billing, or you feel annoyed when you bill. I notice this especially with point 1 email billing. That really tends to be something lawyers have thoughts about that aren't helping them make more money. And I had one client that was not billing her emails. And when we really looked at it, it was this thought that these point 1s were a waste of time. But when she looked at it, she had like 20 point 1s every single day. That was multiple hours of billing that she was letting slip through her fingers. So when she started doing that, she really started seeing her hours add up. She made billing a priority. And so every day at the end of the day, she would look at and collect the time that she hadn't been billing during the day for the emails. She just made a space for it. Even if she wasn't able to contemporaneously bill during the day or she didn't think of it, she made sure that at the end of the day, she would make that time. So you can contemporaneously bill, which I highly recommend because you're going to be far less likely to let time slip through your fingers. But I also understand that sometimes things wait till the end of the day. So at the end of the day, make sure you're doing that so you don't lose out on hours. If this is you, the reason this is happening is because of instead of embracing the fact you have a valuable skill and people want to give you money for it, you fight it. You tell yourself billing is a waste of time, that you don't have time for this, that you're going to do it later, or this is so tedious. So, of course, you're not going to bill if you tell yourself these things. These thoughts are rejecting money and they're rejecting the hours. The solution here is to improve your relationship with time and billing. We have a relationship with both money and time. Relationships are made up of our thoughts. And if you start a relationship with a person and when you go out with them, you think, oh, this is a waste of time. I don't have time for this. This is so tedious. How do you think you're going to show up? What kind of attitude are you going to have when you're talking to them, when you're communicating with them? How long do you think that relationship is going to last? Now, imagine if you told these things to a friend. You told them, I don't have time for this. This is a waste of time. This is really tedious. They probably wouldn't want to hang out with you anymore. Okay, it's the same concept here. What we focus on expands. Focusing on all the thoughts that create the feelings of annoyance are just going to create more of it. So focusing on all the thoughts that help you prioritize what's important, like the sustainable growth that you want, will help you focus more on what's important to you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to feel amazing like butterflies and daisies when you sit down and do billing. But when you remind yourself, I'm doing this for the growth of my practice. I'm doing this because I want to show the boss that I am capable, that I have the ability to bill more hours. then I can make partner, you're going to center yourself. You're going to feel more neutral and grounded, and you're going to focus your brain on a purpose behind the billables. Plus, you're going to feel accomplished when it's done. And we all know, because we've all been there, where we beat ourselves up for not doing something on our calendar or beating ourselves up for not doing something we said we were going to do. But when we feel accomplished, it gives us that opportunity to refocus our brain, reframe what's going on, and we start creating more wins for ourselves. We start showing our brain what we're capable of. We start collecting wins, and then you just keep wanting to make more. So you're going to want to bill at the end of the day. You're going to want to feel accomplished every day. So just keep the ball rolling. Like every time you do it, it's going to feel so good. I just started this new planner that I've been working with. And you know me, I love time management. It's like, this is how I really started to see how my brain worked. And that's why a calendar is such a wonderful tool to start helping you see how your brain works, what your mindset is, like what's getting in your way of creating the business you want, the life that you want. And I started this new planner, and I have felt so accomplished every single day because I have been sticking to, whether it's really late at night or it's the very following morning, doing my daily review to see what I have accomplished, what I have done, and what I haven't done, right? But I feel so good about myself because I keep following through. And you're going to keep that feeling going when you start billing the way that we're talking about in this episode. So recognize the thoughts you're having, how those thoughts are impacting your billing, and then take a moment to pause. Remind yourself that your skills are valuable and important. Billing is just one way to reflect the value of your skills, but it is the most measurable way, right? It really shows you the value. It's important to contemporaneously bill and or review your time at the end of the day to collect that value. Because you could put all the value you want in the world, but if you're not collecting it, you're not receiving the benefit of the skills you've put out into the world. So let's do a quick rundown of what we went over today. First, thinking you are busy is one of the reasons you may not be billing. It seems like we're simply stating facts, but it misfocuses our mind. It's a focus error that prevents us from making time for the priority, growing your practice sustainably. We want to refocus our brain over and over again on what is going to move the needle in our practice. And billing is always one of the biggest needle movers. Second, there's no billing police. I want you to know this. If you are sending a bill later than you like, that's okay. Allow yourself to feel uncomfortable sending the bill and do it anyway. Third, billing is your friend. It is not a waste of time. It's a measure of the value that you've created in the world, and it's how you collect on that value. If you want more on this topic and to go even further on money mindset, I invite you to join me next week for my Money Mindset Masterclass. You can sign up at dinacataldo.com/money masterclass. It's going to take everything that you learned here and take it up another level. And if you know that you are ready to work with me, book a call with me. Go to dinacataldo.com/strategy session. During our call, we're really going to lay out where you are now, where you want to be, and we are going to build a map on how to get you what you want. We're going to take you step by step on everything that you need to do in order to make that happen. So go to dinacataldo.com/strategy session and book your call. All right, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.